After the more intimate green tea, which unveiled horrifying experiences for both Agnes and Daisy, the Testaments shows more ambition with Ball. The Plums and Greens attend a joint dance with the commanders. Agnes wants to make a good match, while Daisy wants to find more information for Mayday. However, drama among their friends highlights some of the jealousy and immaturity among the girls. Agnes shows off her dress to Rosa and Paula. As she does, Agnes worries about what Dr. Grove did to her, but Paula focuses on how to refuse offers of alcohol from the commanders. However, if one does push hard enough, the girls are meant to accept. At the ball, the girls get ready for their night with the aunts and their plum friends. Becca is thrilled when Agnes arrives, but her friend is standoffish. Even so, they join the other greens, plums, and pinks for the opening group dance. Commander Judd praises Aunt Lydia for her work preparing the girls. When Commander Mackenzie comes out for the father's dance, Agnes is shocked by the appearance of Dr. Grove. Agnes pulls it together so she can finish the dance with her father, which is followed by dances with the unmarried commanders. The girls chat with the young commanders about a recent showing of Jaws in the barracks and their classes. Upstairs, some commanders joke about the Greens and women below but are interrupted by Commander Judd. He tells them to respect their future wives. Behind the scenes, Shunammite, Rowan Blanchard, and Huldah, Isolde Artis, drink a tea meant to turn them into Greens. Daisy, Lucy Halliday, stands as a servant until an old commander starts to touch her. She tells him to stop, which enrages him. Before he strikes her, Garth, Brad Alexander, steps in to deal with her. Garth tells her she's doing a great job and asks Daisy to get close to Agnes. They need more information about the dealings with Japan. The two stare deeply into each other's eyes before Garth returns to his role as an eye. When the Greens return to get cleaned up before the next dance, Becca asks Agnes about her dances. However, Agnes snaps at Becca, which surprises Huldah. After the Greens return to the floor, Shunammite reminds Huldah the girls are competing for the affections of the same commanders. Maybe God made you ineligible so you can grow up. Huldah accepts the fact and then asks if that's why Shunammite is ineligible as well. The older commanders take the floor and start dancing. However, Agnes' dance is interrupted by a situation that calls her commander away. Garth, who tells the commander he is needed, steps in to dance with Agnes. They have a sensual dance, discussing the Mayday attack, while Becca's partner forces her to drink alcohol. Upstairs, Aunt Lydia chastises Commander Judd because his men keep forcing the girls to drink. While Judd tries to blame the girls, Lydia reminds him that the aunts control the matches and their actions will be noticed. She leaves, allowing Judd to speak with Aunt Vidala, Mabley, about her future vision for the future of Gilead. Becca stumbles down the hall, drunk from the alcohol the commander kept forcing on her. Shunammite rushes her to Daisy and asks her to care for Becca. If the aunts see her, this could ruin Becca's future. Daisy takes her into a bathroom, where Becca admits she does not want this life. She does not like commanders touching or looking at her. The two bond while talking about Toronto and eventually Agnes. Daisy reminds Becca that Agnes loves her, but Becca admits her feelings towards Agnes are more complicated. In the dressing room, Jehoshaba, Shachina, and Bumlawana gossips about Becca's drunken behavior. Shunammite tells Jehoshaba to stop, but when the girl continues, Shunammite slaps her in front of the whole room. Huldah pulls Shu away before things escalate. Aunt Gabbana, Zarin Darnell Martin, pulls Agnes off the dance floor to meet with more commanders. She's led into an interrogation room, where Commander Judd will ask questions and converse, while dozens of other commanders watch over Zoom. However, the pressure of the situation gets to Agnes. Judd turns off the camera to give Agnes a moment to breathe, and they talk about Penny. Judd shows a warmth towards Agnes, but frames it as hopeful that she's going to be around to support his wife. Afterwards, Agnes speaks with Becca about the night. Because of her nerves, Becca jokes she can always run away, but Agnes tells her they'll run away together if it comes to it. They pinky promise. Aunt Lydia chastises Vidala about the evening, specifically because so many girls drank. You still have much to prove. While Vidala yells at the girls for their failures, the bells start ringing. Huldah enters the room, revealing that she is fertile. Shunammite is clearly upset by what has happened, but she joins in the celebration. On the ride home, Commander Mackenzie thanks Garth for his actions in stepping up security with the rebels at the front. He reveals that Garth is going to make commander soon, which excites Agnes. The best episode of the series so far deals with interpersonal relationships that are getting messy in a hurry. As the tensions continue to grow, there are sure to be some explosive events ahead of the girls. While Agnes gets more into her own head about Garth, his role could seemingly change in a hurry. One of the nice things about Ball is that we actually see Garth in his element. Alexander has not had much screen time outside of being the object of affection. We can see how he's blended in with only a few scenes. It's also intriguing how different his appearance and physicality are when sharing the screen with either Daisy or Agnes. We hope the Testament does not go for a cheap love triangle with the two girls, but it would not shock us either. Meanwhile, the relationship between Daisy and Becca took a meaningful step forward in Ball. With Daisy's example, Becca believes running away is possible. At the same time, Daisy might be tasked with getting information from Agnes, but making Daisy an asset could be just as valuable. In a much darker sense, the Testament has given Daisy a piece of blackmail against Becca, not only by helping her hide how drunk she was, but in the secret love Becca feels towards Agnes. We hope Daisy never falls so far off the path that she uses it. Finally, Shu has become an incredibly intriguing character on the side. Ball allows actress Rowan Blanchard to really showcase her talent. She's fiercely protective of her friends and simultaneously gives when asked to do so. However, her jealousy is something to watch for, and if she never gets the opportunity to take the green, she could be a potentially very dangerous ant in the making. In just a handful of days, we are going to be seeing The Testament Season 1, Episode 5. With that, of course, there are so many different subjects we are eager to see addressed. First and foremost, let's just start off here by noting that a lot of our heart is still struggling with the aftermath of what happened to Agnes. It is horrible, and made even worse by the fact that she is trapped in Gilead with almost no one to turn to. This society is repressed for women to such an extent that if she confides in anyone about what happened at the dentist, she runs the risk of that being shared and she being punished rather than the awful human responsible. So, are there at least some people she could consider confiding in on a certain level? We tend to think so, with the following being certain possibilities. 1. Daisy. Though there are some major questions of trust here, Agnes does at least know that Daisy does not think or talk like anyone else in Gilead. She may be willing to let bygones by that for the sake of explaining what has transpired. 2. Becca. The two have an emotional connection, and you can argue based on the first few episodes that she is actually in love with Agnes. However, we're talking about something done by her own father. Will that make Agnes hesitant to speak? 3. Aunt Lydia. This is the most fascinating discussion to have. How much does Endowed's character know about Mayday or about Agnes? We know that she cares about protecting her girls, so we tend to think she would be incentivized to act if she knew the truth. However, just from her position of power, Agnes may be nervous to say anything. This could create a dilemma that extends far past episode 5.